Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dumpster Cat. Welcome back to another Pioneer video. In this one, we are, of course, furthering our exploration of the rock in the Pioneer format. Will there be successful, or maybe not so successful, but we're here nonetheless, and that's what matters. And with all the Wilds of Eldraine spoilers that are coming out recently, and with Wizards not yet officially spoiling the card that may or may not be the title of this deck we have going for us here. Of course, I will, release a full, in-depth spoiler analysis of that card once it gets officially spoiled. But in the meantime, I wanted to touch on some original Eldraine cards, of course, Questing Beast here, the title of this video, just to kind of have some interesting discussion and develop a theory that I've been having for the rock that may push the archetype in the future. And so we should all be familiar with Questing Beast if we are familiar with the rock whatsoever. It's just an insanely static creature. I mean, just look at the text box. It does so much, is extremely aggressive, gets over your opponent's smaller creatures, interacts with planeswalkers very well. The vigilance getting around things like Wandering Emperor is really nice. Just being able to trade with anything with the Death Touch is, of course, very nice. And just overall is a very aggressively oriented creature that we may want to be looking at in the rock in the future. And I say that because it kind of opens up a new idea that I want to share with you guys, perhaps being a bit more aggressive. Of course, with, the card that may or may not be the title of this deck coming out, we have a really, really good 2-drop coming for us. And so that kind of opens up a new pathway of being more aggressive. We no longer have to rely on subpar creatures like Scrapgorger. Obviously, we do have Shadow, which is a nice one, and I do like it. Scooz is kind of, subpar, is kind of good in certain matchups, but really bad in others. And Deeproot Wayfinder, possibly being a good creature for us, but just kind of being lackluster sometimes as well. With a new 2-drop, we may have a new axis of attack that is, of course, offensive and is a kind of a forgotten, I would say, a forgotten aspect of the rock and just of mid-range decks in general that I think we can really be pushing with the possible addition of Questing Beast. So why am I saying all this? Why is being aggressive possibly a route to victory that we want to be considering in the future with the addition of Questing Beast and certain other cards that I laid out? Of course, we're not an aggro deck, we're a mid-range deck, and so being aggressive is may seem interesting or maybe kind of strange at first glance. But, in the past, of course, Tarmogoyf was a very prominent card in the rock in the modern format, and is just basically a beater. It's an aggressively costed 2-drop creature that gets the opponent down quickly. Alongside cards like Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, even Duress, and I've got the Spies going for us here just for some extra spice, which, could be good or may not be good. With all this interaction going alongside these aggressive creatures, we can really, really get the opponent dead quickly while disrupting them, getting their removal out of their hands, fatal pushing or interacting with their creatures otherwise to get through damage. I think Questing Beast, although, it is not a Tarmogoyf by any means, and the new card that coming out, or that may or may not be coming out, is not a Tarmogoyf by any means either, they're still very aggressively costed creatures that can impact the board early on, can get damage through early on. Of course, when we're looking at the Pioneer format with Rakdos Midrange, they have Bloodtithe Harvester, they have Bone Crusher Giant, they also have Shadow, they have Shieldred like us as well, Trespasser like us as well. And all these creatures are very, very aggressive, and it's being aggressive is something that we really, really need to have in the rock. Of course, in the past, we've kind of been lacking, honestly, with being aggressive, mainly with our 2-drops. We have a really big hole in the quality of our 2-drops in our colors in this format, which is one of the main reasons this archetype has been lacking, is because we've kind of had to find ways of playing the rock with, subpar cards like Armored Scrapgorger. Of course, I like Shadow, and we are playing it, of course. But other cards like I have here, Deeproot Wayfinder, are, fine and are interesting, but are just really not the aggressively costed creatures that, or rather aggressively costed and just inherently aggressive creatures that we really want in a mid-range deck to pressure the opponent and get them dead quickly. And that's why I think Questing Beast could possibly be a nice addition for us in terms of being more of a hybrid, aggressive mid-range deck. Of course, we can't really go over the top of control decks. Other mid-range decks, just because of Fable being in the format, are oftentimes going to be able to outvalue us. And so, perhaps being aggressive or being, more aggressive than them is going to be more attractive in the future. Of course, this is all theory, all speculation. So not entirely sure if this is going to completely matter, but I think it's interesting nonetheless. Of course, we have other aggressive cards like Glissa Sunslayer that we've, fortunately been able to get our hands on in recent times. That, she's an aggressive threat, very value-oriented, which is sweet, kind of like the new card that may or may not be coming out. There's a very value-oriented 2-drop, which, has its kind of upsides and downsides to it, but has a lot of value attached to it nonetheless. And so I think that this theory could be interesting. I've always liked the the old modern rock decks playing Dark Confidant, Scavenging Ooze, Tarmogoyf, that are a bit lower to the ground, a bit more value oriented, a bit more hybrid, aggro, mid-range deck oriented, which I think we may be able to get going here. I'm not sure, of course, applying threes from modern directly into Pioneer is a very, very bad thing that I have definitely made the mistake of doing in the past. But I think it's pretty interesting nonetheless. And a card like Questing Beast or even just other aggressive cards are ideas that we should be looking at and really investing our time in playtesting. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section about Questing Beast, about this theory of being more aggressive in a mid-range deck. If you like it, if you don't like it, what do you think about this whole idea? I think it's personally pretty interesting. I have been testing Questing Beast recently to some pretty decent success. Of course, we have other 4-drops, like Asiga's Chariot is probably like the second best, then Kalidas, Sorin the Merciless, Vraska, Golgari Queen, cards like that. Are definitely more value-oriented, and a card like Chariot can be more well-oriented versus a Rakdos deck, mid-range deck, or control deck. But I think Questing Beast could be pretty sweet and could be a nice addition to our archetype in the future if we really want it to be. So, of course, with that being said, thank you so much for all the support on the channel recently. Subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content. Of course, I will be doing a full in-depth spoiler analysis of the new card coming out, or that may or may not be coming out, right? Just because it's really sweet, really awesome. It's a 2-drop that's going to be like our best 2-drop, I feel like, that we have, that we're going to be having access to. So really awesome. Keep your eyes out on that. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.